Well, based on the video's title, I guess you already figured out that what I want to do with this video is really reach out to the atheists out there. And
sounds good, Mark. At least one is listening right now. What would you like to say?
Basically say, congratulations, you've done an excellent job over the years.
Why, thank you. I think there's still a lot of work left to be done, but I'm sure we'll get into that later in the video. I do sense a but coming in the very near future, though, right?
But
there it is.
You might want to lay off Christianity, because there's some unintended consequences that you might not be seeing.
Oh, really? What might those be?
First off, let me congratulate you right and show you what you've done and the work that you've put in to rid the world of the scourge that is religiosity.
I think you're getting a little ahead of yourself here. I mean, there are countries like Ethiopia where 99% of their population identifies as religious. Sure, there are countries on the other end of that spectrum, but that in no way means atheists have been able to rid the world of the scourge that is religiosity. We've got a long way to go before that happens.
Here we see, for example, in The Guardian in the UK, number of people with no religion outnumber Christians in England and Wales.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
If we go through and we read the article, you'll see that they tout this as a good thing.
That's because it is. I mean, it's obviously not going to solve every problem, but I think it's one small victory when your citizenry is educated enough to see through the religious nonsense peddled by religious authorities. Personally, I think it's time our species moved past these ancient superstitions. The sooner the better. But I'm under no illusion that it's going to be easy. But I do think that societies grounded in reality, societies that are able to develop ethical systems based on what's real, are necessary for our continued march forward as a species, and I think religion is a barrier to such progress. But hey, I'm just one guy with a YouTube channel. I could be completely wrong.
And for atheists, I'm sure that it is a good thing. If we take a look here, you can see that since 1992, 58% of people were basically saying that they were religious or claiming that they're religious. And in 2016, that's down to 53. So, 5-point drop over the course of, 1.5 decades.
That's solid progress. I think it also goes to show that you can change people's minds. You might not change someone's mind when you're initially making your argument, but that doesn't mean that once the dust is settled, your opponent won't assess what happened and eventually conclude that they might be wrong, or that they're likely wrong about their God existing. The one thing I get tired of hearing is that I, and people like me, are wasting our time by debating, exploring, and disagreeing with religious ideas. I understand not everyone wants to do it, but if you sincerely believe that particular religions are wrong, that they're fundamentally false, why wouldn't you challenge those ideas? If you're not willing or interested enough in the subject to challenge those ideas, why would you discourage those who are? I'm not saying atheists need to be complete dicks when challenging religious ideas they disagree with, but there's nothing inherently wrong with saying, hey, I don't agree with that, and here's why. Anyways, I digress. Please continue, Mark.
Here's an article by the Pew Research Center saying that in the U.S., the public is becoming less religious.
Unbelievable. Unbe-fucking-leavable.
Unbe-fucking-leavable.
The thing is that this whole fight and push against Christianity has had some unintended consequences, I think.
Let me stop you right there, Mark. I think all religions are false. I think they each contain false or untrue ideas. It's not just Christianity, and I'm not saying there aren't some good ideas mixed in with the bad. However, I think we can extract those good ideas and leave behind the superstitious nonsense. I think we can build secular philosophies that don't include ideas that are either demonstrably false or contain ideas that are likely not true. A lot of the time, I don't even know why this is a controversial thing to say out loud.
Now, I myself am a Christian. I'm not looking to convert anyone with this video or to shove my religion down anybody's throat here.
I'm glad to hear that, but I'm also not against Christians saying their piece either, whether that's on platforms like YouTube or out on the street corner, etc. I take no issue with people who believe in religion using words to express why they believe those things. In fact, I welcome it because I think that ultimately we have the better arguments. I think truth will rise to the top eventually, and I think the statistics you just mentioned show that to be the case.
But whether you're religious or not, one thing is absolutely certain, and it's obvious by just looking critically at humanity, and that is that humanity is built to worship.
I said. Is not this simpler? Is this not your natural state?
I disagree. Again, I might be completely wrong, but I think we can do better as a species. I think we can get off our hands and knees, stop worshipping pretend beings in the sky, and strive towards trying to figure out what's true, instead of turning to fanciful stories that make us feel good when we're inevitably confronted by uncomfortable truths or reality.
You see, humanity is either suffering from an evolutionary hiccup where, we can't help ourselves and our monkey brains are taking over and we have to idolize and worship something bigger and brighter than ourselves.
You can feel awe for things that are bigger and brighter than ourselves without having to believe in magical stories made up by primitive humans. I don't necessarily agree that we need to worship such things, because we can acknowledge our part in the cosmic dance of the universe without debasing ourselves to such things. We can appreciate the beauty and wonder that surrounds us without necessarily worshipping it, although I guess that it depends on what you classify as worshipping. Many Christians I've talked to will say that if someone tries to earn money to better their circumstances, they're worshipping money, or that if they're ardent fans of a sports team, they're worshipping that team. I think those types of definitions water down the definition of the word worship and essentially render it practically useless.
Or it's a spiritual imperative, and there is a God, and there is this natural soul living within us that wants to commune with this God. But no matter how you split it, the fact is that humanity will worship. Humanity will find something to idolize.
If you're right, how about we start idolizing ideas or things that are demonstrably true? That's a step in the right direction, in my opinion.
We have the worship of celebrity and fame. I mean, it's obvious. There has never been the sort of all-out, animalistic, groveling, begging for attention that exists today among young people especially.
There's never been the internet either. We've never had the capacity to share stories like we do now. We've never been able to communicate with someone on the other side of the planet with the click of a mouse before. Now, I'm with you on the whole celebrity craze thing. I don't understand it much either. And like most things, we can do too much of something, to the point where it becomes an unhealthy addiction. But hey, at least celebrities are real people.
There was a study out there that said among high school students, when they ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? They say rich and famous more often than they say any other career choice.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure why you find that surprising. Being rich and famous has always been something young people aspire to. Money, fame, being able to live without worrying about how you're going to pay the rent or put food on the table sounds good to most people.
We've got the worship of science, and that's clear and evident.
No, it's not.
I mean, there has never been a more dogmatic reliance on men with lab coats than there is right now.
Science works. You don't need to believe in unfalsifiable ideas or superstitious nonsense to practice the scientific method. You don't worship the scientific method. And yes, when scientists who spend their entire lives researching, experimenting, and recording their data say they formed a peer-reviewed scientific theory, then we should listen. That's not dogmatic, that's reasonable.
It doesn't matter what the evidence against something is, like, let's say, man-made global warming. The evidence is huge and it's piling up.
Citation needed.
But somebody someday said that 97% of scientists believe this, that man-made global warming is a thing and it's going to drown us all when the ice caps melt. And there is a undying faithfulness to this, that if you even want to discuss the possibility that man-made global warming isn't a thing, or even if it is a thing, it's not a big deal, you are like a Holocaust denier.
I do think global warming is a thing. I think the evidence is overwhelming, but let's put that aside for a second. Let's say I've adopted your conclusion that global warming is a hoax and that climate scientists around the world are, for some reason, ringing alarm bells for no reason at all. I would still agree that we need to invest in clean, renewable energy. I think that's a no-brainer, and the sooner we do that, the better. I think even people who deny global warming should be able to agree on that much, considering that burning fossil fuels do pose health concerns to people worldwide. So can we just agree on that much and move forward with developing clean energy? Can we move quickly away from burning carbon fuels?
I mean, like I said, I'm a Christian. I believe that the Christian Bible is true 100% from in the beginning all the way to the last verse of Revelation.
That's fucking
embarrassing.
At most, the best possible number, the highest estimates of atheists, true atheists out there, is about 7%. And you're not gaining in numbers. As a matter of fact, atheists are dropping off left and right.
Wait, did you not point out at the beginning of your video that we're gaining in numbers?
Here's an article by the Pew Research Center saying that in the U.S. the public is becoming less religious. You have a lot of atheists that were atheists because it was cool, coming to a place in their lives where they're like, no, I think I want religion. I think so.
If that's the case and your goal is to spread religiosity, then it would seem you have nothing to worry about then. Why the video?
So anyway, all that being said, the main unintended consequence that I want to hit with this video is that while humanity is going to worship, and it'll worship celebrity, money, science, it'll also worship Muhammad. I want to show you something. Here's an article by NPR. The world's Muslim population will surpass the Christian population this century.
Okay, so we have work to do there. Not sure what your point is. They're both ideologies full of bad ideas that need to be challenged.
I'm going to read a little bit of this to you, and you tell me if you think that all your efforts have had all the consequences you hoped they had. Islam is growing more rapidly than any other religion in the world, according to a new report by the Pew Research Center that says the religion will nearly equal Christianity by 2050, and then it will eclipse Christianity by 2070.
And a lot can happen between now and then. But even if the article is right, what does that have to do with Christianity? Why should I stop criticizing one set of harmful, untrue ideas because another set of harmful, untrue ideas are on the rise? Why wouldn't I criticize both?
But now, Christianity has sort of allowed the atheists, the non-Christians out there to ridicule us, to place crucifixes in shot glasses full of piss, etc.
Recently that might be the case, but Christianity has a long history of persecuting those who disagree with their doctrines. I think what you meant to say is that Christians living within secular societies have allowed atheists critical of religion to practice their free speech, and to criticize religion, including Christianity.
How do you think it's going to go for you guys when Islam is the number one religion in the world?
I don't know. How do you think it will go for people like you, the people of the book?
How many YouTube channels do you think you guys are going to be able to get away with when the high-up executives at YouTube and Google, etc., are all Islamic? How many art galleries do you think are going to host an artist that has a little figurine of Muhammad sitting in a cup of piss? How do you think that's going to go?
I don't know, but I'm still failing to see why I should, quote, lay off criticizing one set of ideas I think are false, because another set of ideas I think are false might, maybe, at some point, perhaps, take over all social media and prevent criticism of their particular ideology.
You think you have a fight on your hands with Christians wanting to include creationism in science class?
Yeah, whenever they do try that, we do have a fight on our hands, because creationism isn't science.
I mean, come on, guys. You have the feminists out there adopting the hijab. You have the Women's March being hijacked. with this feminist in a hijab calling, sort of giving a blessing over the march. Nobody says anything.
Yeah. No one said anything. No one said anything. I seem to remember a lot of people talking about it, and a lot of people were criticizing that particular portion of the Women's March. I think there's a conversation to be had there about some people living in the West seemingly endorsing or embracing the hijab, but to say no one is saying anything about it is just factually untrue.
It's interesting. Now, I know you atheists are against Islam as much as Christianity and everything else, but you need to get your head around something. If it isn't Christianity, it will be Islam. You will not get us faithful dummies to drop our faith in God. You will not get the majority of us humans who are needy and just looking to get our value from the spaghetti monster. You won't get us to change our minds, no matter what you do.
Sorry, Mark. I think that's bullshit. I think in general, we're able to change our minds. I, for one, am not going to endorse what I consider to be harmful, untrue ideas to defend against another set of harmful, untrue ideas. Instead, I'm going to try to endorse reality, evidence-based thinking, examination of why people believe the things they do, including myself, and critical thinking in general. I think Muslims are just as able to change their minds as Christians. Sure, we might not be able to convince everyone, but I think we can sow seeds of doubt and lessen the pernicious impact that religion often contributes to our lives. I think we can promote open discussion between atheists and the religious, and I think the best ideas will win out. Right now, I think atheists have the better arguments, but I guess time will tell. Anyways, that's it for this video. I cut bits from the original video, but like always, I'll leave a link in the description box in case you want to go check it out for yourselves. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. Cheers!